Hello, this is Fern, and today I'd like to talk to y'all about making vinegar using fruit scraps. So I touched on this in one of my earlier videos, but here I'll go into a bit of a deep dive and talk about the whole process. So this whole thing stemmed from I had a bunch of plums, and I had a bunch of like scraps that I didn't know what to do with. And so I looked up how to make vinegar because I'd seen something recently. I must have seen something. It was probably a Rob Greenfield video about making vinegar. And I decided to look it up on a whim and just try it out. And so the first day I just put in some fruit scraps, some sugar, and some water. And so I tried for this plum fruit scrap vinegar. I did one the day before the other. So you'll see I'll have two jars and I'm stirring them at the same time. And one is just one day ahead of the other. And I had white sugar added to one, and then I had brown sugar added to the other. I'd read somewhere that brown sugar is better to use. I'm not entirely, I wasn't paying that much attention. So it's a fun process. You put your fruit scraps in, you put your sugar in, and you put your water in. And then I used coffee filters in these jars to keep like dirt and hair and flies out of the jars while they were just sitting on the counter. I don't get a lot of natural light in my kitchen, so I'm fine with just leaving them out. But you'll want to do it in like a dark place and not like in the fridge. You want it to be on your counter. It's really interesting. You get like kind of scary looking stuff floating at the top, right? It looks like this is not going well. And then if you see while I'm stirring this, there's a lot of bubbles, and the bubbles are the fermentation working. And after about a week of stirring it every day, the scary, floaty, weird stuff really starts to go away. Here you can see this one. I was like, whoa, what is that? And you can see how bubbly it is. It's amazing. So it starts to kind of mellow out, and then you really smell like this seems like vinegar now. So at that point, after it's been a few days, not a few days, maybe like a week, maybe a little bit longer than a week, then you filter it out, all the chunks. So I used a cheesecloth kind of thing. It's really like some sort of like a dish rag or a napkin or something. I was honestly trying to find an old pillowcase that I had. I don't know where I put the fabric, because it's what I used to make my one of my masks, my cloth face mask, and I couldn't find it, so I used a little cloth napkin thing instead. Because the first time that I tried to strain it out, I was like, well, I already have a filter on the end of this jar, so if I just flip it over, it'll filter through. And it didn't, because I think there's a problem when enough of the like scummy bits are on the filter. It doesn't let like liquid pass through very easily at all. And so that I do not recommend doing that. If you do want to have like a finer amount of filtering, you can pass it through one of these coffee filters in like a cheesecloth or in a cloth napkin, and then you can use that as like the extra layer of filtering. And I actually think that's probably a pretty good idea to do anyway, because you'll get all of this fruit the fruit scraps that are collected in the napkin, you'll get kind of like a, I don't know, like a patty of this material that you need to put in your compost. So it might be an easier way to dispose of it. And you might want to put a fresh coffee filter on your jar afterwards anyway. So, as you can see, it progresses interestingly over time. I decided not to put all the dates on these, just have the assumption that each time I'm stirring the 2 jars, it's been about a day. So here's that cloth napkin, and I'm pouring it into a bowl. And I filtered both of these plum vinegars twice now. And I will probably do one again. I have to look into it because there is some conversation about the mother, which is like the boy, I really don't know very much about this process scientifically, but it's like the yeast. It's the culture that is making the vinegar. And so you can save that in order to easily make more vinegar, I guess. But for me, I honestly found this process super fast and super easy. I think it's kind of the same concept as if you're making sourdough, you have your sourdough starter, and then you just keep feeding it and adding to it week on week. But for the vinegar, because it's really fast to get to collect all of those wild yeasts, I don't think it's really necessary to do anything special to save the mother of the vinegar, at least from my opinion. So I also decided to make a small batch of grape/wine vinegar with some of the grapes that I have. I think these were just left over, like they didn't fit on my drying rack, and so I just put a couple in a really small jar. And here, I used some brown sugar. And it's really just the same exact process. I'm actually so excited. So I didn't know how well this was gonna work, and now I'm like all about making vinegar. So now I want to try it with tomatoes, and I have no idea if that's gonna work. And I kind of want to try it without even looking it up if like people have done it, but then I also kind of want to look it up and see what I should expect, because like maybe I need to put more sugar in the water or something, or like maybe it just won't work at all because it's too acidic or something. But I want to try it out. And I don't know, now with like all of the fruit scraps that I have, I'm pretty interested in seeing what kind of vinegar flavors I can get, because you can tell from like the color and the smell that they're all like making something unique. And I don't know, I can make some pretty dope salad dressings, I feel like. Okay, and just a few days ago I also strained my grape vinegar. This time I went straight into the cloth. No mishaps or misadventures due to inexperience. And I have only filtered this one or strained this one through once, so in maybe a week I'll do it again and try to get some nice, like, I don't know, more clear looking vinegar, because it is kind of like foggy looking. I think I'm doing it right because it smells right. It doesn't smell like not vinegar, like it smells like vinegar. So I'm pretty sure I'm doing the right thing. And I'm excited to see how things go. That's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed this, and thanks for watching.